Hi, this is Jeng, and we are here with Kelly Stinson, the potty princess.
You got it.
And we're going to talk about what SAS does, what Kelly does, and how they can help you on your next multifamily deal or your current one. So, Kelly, welcome. Thanks for coming on. Maybe just to kick it off, tell people a little bit about you and what you guys do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Super excited to have some dialogue with you this morning, James. So SAS is a nationwide service provider. We focus on water conservation that is relative to toilets, shower heads, and aerators, specifically in the multifamily channel. And the reason why this is really important for any owners and operators out there is that we have an opportunity to support you with reducing the water consumption 30 to 60% on those properties that are like the Class B, or Class C, Class B properties. You know, everybody's wanting to get into that value add right now. So with that, right, you're able to reduce the actual water sewer expenses 20 to 40%. So I know we've talked about this before, but you know, if you take an example where you have, you know, a project that's, say, you know, $50,000 investment to remove all the inefficient toilets and put all the new ones in, shore up all of your leaks, and let's say you're gonna reduce the water sewer expense by $50,000, then if we're running that at like a 6.5 cap rate, that's almost
Lower.
a lower cap rate. All right, so let's
Cap rates have gone down, Kelly. If you have, yeah, interest rates have gone down, cap rates have come down. So
oh, that's
now,
true.
now it's even worth, now that income stream is worth even more.
Yep.
So let's use 5.5. That's a pretty
Okay.
good number right now.
All right, so you take that 50,000 and you divide it, you know, on your 5%, and so we're sitting at $1 million asset value boost.
Right.
Man, have cap rates really adjusted that much in
They
middle?
have. So interest rates have come down. So interest rates sort of pre-COVID were probably 4.5%. Now they're like 2.5 to 3. And so that drop in basis point is allowing people to essentially sell their property at the same price, even if rents are down a little bit, even if occupancy is down a little bit. You know, the people are buying deals at 4.5 to 5 caps, 5.5 caps, sort of on the top end. So yes, the $50,000 investment into your property is going to yield that increase.
Yeah.
How does somebody know? Like, all right, how do I know that there's leaks going on? Like, do I look? So like, when I look at a P&L for someone and I say, oh man, the payroll's 2,000 a unit, that's double the average, right? But then how does somebody know that their property has leaks, or, you know, they have an issue? Like, maybe do they call you, or what happens? Tell me, like, I buy a property, or I've owned a property for a long time, and, you know, it's just humming along. The water bill is 10,000 a month, and it's 10,000 a month. And how do I know that it could be 5?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, most of us out there are not, you know, water experts, nor are we experts in toilets, because toilets aren't really sexy, right? So that's really where we come into play at SAS. Is we will answer those questions. We will bridge that gap with our owners and walk them through the process. So, you know, if we were on, you know, if this were like the Tinder app, right, and we're trying to, you know, swipe right or swipe left, the ideal date for SAS, so this should be really important to anybody tuning in, is that if you have a property that's built before 1995,
Okay.
and it's a, you know, Class C, maybe a Class B property, that right there are, you know, 2 simple qualifying criteria.
Okay.
All right, you see that, then the next step should be to look at the water sewer expenses, right? Are they, you know, so a perfect example, I was working with a gentleman yesterday. He's owned this property in Dallas for 5 years, and I actually met him at your conference last October.
There you go.
Yeah, and he hung on to my information and called me yesterday. How ironic is that? So he said, "Hey, I've hung on to your card, Kelly, and I'm really having an issue at this property. This owner is he has a $20,000 a month water bill, and he only has 204 apartments on the property."
So my math isn't that good. What is that per month per unit?
So that's okay, $789.
A year.
Yes, so that,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And that is,
Why is my
sorry,
math off? 20,000
yep,
times 12, so 240, and it's 240 units, you said? Or how many units?
204.
Oh, 204. Okay.
Yep,
So
yeah.
let's say, so it's 1,200 or so per
Yeah.
unit. And then, so it's like $100 a month per unit. Am I doing
Yes,
my math? Okay.
so he is way off the
Okay.
basics.
Okay.
Okay. So this is something he didn't know, because when he purchased the property 5 years ago, all of the water sewer expenses were pretty consistent across the board, right? When
Okay.
you're looking at these T12s. But if you actually look at the true water bill and you're watching the consumption, that's where you're going to get that insight if there is additional consumption going on. But there's also really intelligent and innovative technology that's available today that you can strap onto the top of the water meter on the property, and it in real time it's going to learn the behaviors of the water patterns on the property and alert you when things seem to be off kilter.
So what do you think what do you think that bill can get down to? Let's say, do you think it can be half or 30%, 40% reduction? Or do you guys have to go out there and actually do like a full audit or what? So yeah, someone calls you. Now, what do you do? Like, do you go out there and see a couple units or what do you do?
Good question. So I just am running off of assumptions, very conservative assumptions on the front side, because he's shared they haven't done any renovations on the property. Property was built in the early 70s. So I already know that that property is probably running 3.5 gallon per flush toilets.
Okay.
All right. And at that, a lot of those flappers in those toilets are probably leaking. So those toilets could be leaking anywhere of 100 to 300 gallons of water per toilet per day. And then you take that across, let's say, half of his property might have leaky toilets. That could be where all this consumption is coming from. So we are going to go out to the property next week. We're going to take a look in a couple of units just to verify a few things. Then that's going to help us better articulate some of the savings for him and some of the analysis and recommendations. At that point, if all of the numbers pencil out favorably for him, which I'm pretty certain they will, then we'll go in and complete a full assessment. And that's where we're going to access 100% of the units. We're going to document the fixture flow rate of each of the toilets, the shower heads, the kitchen faucets, and the bathroom faucets. And we're also documenting any of those front of the wall leaks, because like for example, those tub spouts in the showers.
Oh, front of the tub, like the little,
Yeah,
okay.
so when you go to pull the stem to
Yeah.
engage the shower head,
Half of it's below it.
yeah, those wear out over time.
Right.
And residents don't report that stuff. And then also, when those units are being turned and they're going through make ready, most of the staff that's coming through and preparing those units, they're looking just to make sure the shower head is attached to the stem. They're not turning on the valves to see how water is flowing. And that's where you're missing this. This is kind of what we call the silent leak. So we're able to help shore up all of those leaks, get all the fixtures efficient, and then be able to deliver, that 40%, 20 to 40% reduction on the water sewer bill. And we've seen some properties also. I know you had spoken with some other owners a few months back that we had partnered with on their project, and they experienced a 58% reduction on their water sewer bill.
Yeah, that was a 1970s property too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
200 units. 200 units.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's And that is a great testament to the fact that they had very inefficient fixtures, but even so, those flappers were leaking and they weren't being maintained. And that's where they saw that's where they benefit from such a big asset value boost.
So these numbers don't have to be perfect, but let's say, all right, 200 units. If you
Okay.
get everything, aerators, shower heads, toilet, what should someone ballpark? Is it 500 a unit? Is it 1,000 a unit? I don't know. What's a good number that if someone's ballparking this stuff?
Good question. So we run analysis by bathroom
Okay.
because not every unit is going to be a one by one or
Two
two
budget.
by.
Yeah. Yeah.
There might be two showers, 1.5 bath. So an easy, very conservative approach would be to run at $300
A
per
unit?
bathroom.
Oh, 300 per
Per,
bathroom. Okay.
yep,
Okay.
per bathroom. So, and that 300 per bathroom is going to include all of the material. That's going to include all of the project management, the installation, the consulting, that full assessment. So, and
It's pretty good.
yeah, so our
Like I
crews,
can't get someone out at my house for $300 to
I
do
know,
anything.
yeah,
So on a per bathroom, yeah. So okay. So for the two beds, it's a little bit more. Two bath, it's a little bit more, but
mhm,
um okay. So and then so let's say you do on so that guy, he owns the property already. That's fine.
mhm, yeah,
Um and so let's say he saves half the cost. So he might go from 240,000 to 120 or 150 a
yep,
year.
yeah,
So it's a huge boost to his income,
yes,
or his net operating income. What would
yes.
you say for people who are buying a deal and people are a little nervous? Sellers don't want them accessing units. They see the model unit, they see a vacant.
Yes.
What do you do then? Like, how are you helping those people on the acquisition side?
Great, great question. So I can't share with you all of my
Okay.
my secret tools,
No
right?
secrets.
Uh,
Yeah, just whatever
but
you can share.
but what I will share is that when you are on the front side of looking at a property and you're considering submitting an offer, reach out to us. And basically, we're just going to ask for some preliminary information. If you've got the OM, that's really all we need.
Okay.
OM and T12 is awesome. And if it's an off-market deal, then we just need like the unit mix, as well as the name of the property. And at that point, we will use some of our internal tools and resources to be able to research the property and then put in some assumptions. And what makes SAS very unique is that we are extremely conservative on these particular preliminary proposals, because you are looking at underwriting this type of project into your deal. And I have these conversations on a weekly basis. I'm not kidding you. I get these questions of, well, somebody said that it was going to be a lot more than this. And I'm like, it could be, but I haven't validated that on your property.
Right.
And I'm running conservative numbers. I want to help you, submit a competitive offer, but I want you to be realistic too. So that is the biggest piece, is allow us to help have those conversations, right? Um, and we turn those proposals around within 24 hours. I
Okay.
mean,
That's
and the
perfect.
market is loosening up right now, right, James? I mean,
Yeah.
it's wildfire. So I just we were really busy during COVID, even though our crews were not in the field during the shelter-in-place orders. They did go back in the field the middle of May, but at that point, we had been really busy because water consumption has increased 3 to 5 times on these multifamily properties because everybody's at home.
Everyone's
So
home.
these
Yeah.
owners that have all bills paid or even have RUBS where it's a flat fee going back, they're feeling a lot of pain, and it's impacting their NOI negatively. So now they're like, okay, what can I do? So
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
all
I
we're doing
think
right now.
on all bills paid, it is deadly obvious that you are responsible. If you're rubbing back a certain percentage, then it's not as effective, but it's still more money for that tenant. It's still more money for you,
Yes.
because you're typically not getting 100% of that rub back exactly dollar for dollar. So um, do you guys work everywhere or in Texas? Or if people are listening, there's people signed up for this conference all over the place. Uh,
Mhm.
do you do outside of Texas? What
Yeah.
is sort of your area?
Yeah. So we are nationwide. We will go wherever the water is.
Okay.
And what we're finding though is that we adjust our crews and where they're positioned. We're really following all of the investors and where those hot markets are, because for those investors that are educated on the benefits of water conservation and how that correlates to NOI and boosting the asset value, they're putting this, in phase one of their pro formas when they're closing on properties. So we're spending a lot of time in Texas, which is a given, right? But we're also spending a lot of time up in Tulsa, and then Atlanta, of course, in Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. I mean, all of these different areas, Ohio, where everybody's kind of checking out the markets right now. That's where you're going to find us. And we've got a lot of really cool insight in those markets too.
So you have done a lot with a lot of investors. You work with a lot of investors. What is like the one piece of advice? It can be water, it can be anything that you would want to leave investors with today.
So the biggest thing, and because water conservation is like, that is my passion, that is my platform, that's where I am fulfilled. I want to share that, many people don't understand this, that the average person flushes a toilet 3 to 5 times a day. So if you're in an apartment and let's say there's 3 to 4 people that live in that unit, that's a lot of water when you're running 3.5 gallons per flush. So if there's anything I could leave, it's to think about that and think about our, our younger kids and the legacy that we're leaving for them. So protect the environment while growing your cash, right?
That's perfect. I'm going to leave it at that. What is the best way for people to reach out to you? Is it website, email, online? Let me have it. Where can
Two
people find you?
two easy places. You can get to our website at sasconserve.com. And I know that's a mouthful. So if you miss that, you can also just go to LinkedIn or Facebook and put in hashtag the potty princess. And as long as you put in hashtag the potty princess, you will automatically get to me and to our SAS website.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for coming on today, and we will see you at the conference.
Yes, excited.